Come thou far from every blessing, tune my heart to sing thy grace. Streams of mercy, never ceasing, cobblestones of loudest praise. Teach me some melodious sonnet, sung like
Gospel this morning, Jesus began selecting men to follow him. Some of those names we recognize when we hear them: Andrew, John, Peter. The curious thing about Jesus' list of disciples is that it changes depending on which gospel you read. One gospel has this list, another has a different list. But nonetheless, this is a time now that Jesus is beginning to move out from his home and go away to preach to larger groups of people. And he brings disciples with him, apostles they become. In John's gospel, they always just are disciples. So John doesn't help us because everyone that followed Jesus in John was a disciple. One wonders in our day what it was that caused these men to rise up from what they were doing and follow after Jesus. The story is so short. Jesus walks by, says, "Come follow me." They drop what they're doing and go. There are those who would have that something of a miracle that these people would simply get up and follow a stranger. But my suspicion is that Jesus wasn't a stranger. Jesus had been in his own area of Nazareth, preaching and teaching. People knew who Jesus was, and they were ready to hear what he had to say, so that when he began calling people, they were ready. They got up and went. And what made them ready is found in Matthew, picking up language out of Isaiah, saying these very words can be fulfilled. And what was that language? There will be no gloom for those who are in anguish. In the former time, he brought into contempt the land of Zebulun, the land of Naphtali. But in the latter time, he will make glorious the way of the sea. Now, who wrote that? A prophet in desperation. A prophet looking at his shattered people. The northern kingdom, the great northern kingdom, had fallen apart way back in the 6th century BC. Judah, the great Judah of Bethlehem, had collapsed to the Babylonians. People carried away into the Babylonian exile. And yet their prophets kept saying, keep listening, keep looking up, keep watching. Train your eyes, train your ears to hear. This is not the last story. This is not where the story ends. There was inscribed on a wall in a cave under a farmhouse where the Germans had swept through, gathering Jews to be sent to the ovens. It's scratched on the wall where apparently someone had hidden was, "I believe in God when the sun doesn't shine. I believe in God when there is no joy. I believe in God when the laughter fails. I believe in God to carry me." That Jew had been trained to hear differently than we are. It's another little story about a farmer who came to the big city, was talking to his brother as they stood in the middle of the big city and sirens blowing and people talking and, of course you know what happens when you go to the city. And as they were talking, the farmer said to his brother, "Wait, there's a cricket beginning to sing." The brother looked at him, "How can you hear a cricket singing in all this mess?" And the brother said, "It depends on what you listen for." Now that is gospel truth. How we make it through the world depends on how we listen. What we listen for. What do we listen for? We listen for our phone to ring so someone can interrupt our day. We listen to the TV. We listen to the politicians. We listen to a president being impeached. We listen to the noise of our life. We're surrounded by noise until we can step away from it. But there's a way for us to tune up our way of listening. There is. Even in all that, there's a way to tune up our listening to try to hear the voice of God in everything that happens. And if we don't do that, if we can't learn to tune up our hearing, get it up above everything that's happening, then we simply become a part of the din and the noise and the darkness. We have to always have our hearing, our inner hearing, our inner expectation tuned to something high, where we can hear words like that. There will come a day when Judah will be rescued. There will come a day when once again we'll be by the rivers of Zebulun. There will come a day when things will make sense again. So few of us are trying to do that. So few of us even know that you can do it. So few of us have never been asked to tune your ears so they can hear a cricket singing down in the meadow. And that in that cricket, you hear God's voice saying it's okay. It's okay, there are still crickets singing. And when we don't do that, we are like we are dragged through the muck of a not very well society every day. There's happy things that happen in our culture. There are good things, there are good people, but a lot of the time, if we can't hear above the din, it feels like we're just being dragged along. And we start thinking that's real. And we start thinking, well, this must be life. And then we need to remember, I believe in God when I can't see God. I believe in God when it's so dark. I believe in God when people stop laughing. I believe in God, the one who will carry me. Last week, my family lost my niece in a terrible car wreck. And she went away immediately. Beautiful, 28 years old. And I think that if that family had not been told all their life how to listen for that which is above the darkness, the family wouldn't have made it. This is so horrible. But these are Christian people, religious people, kind of. Some of the young cousins have quite made up their mind what they are, and this hasn't helped. But the grown-ups in that family have been teaching lessons like this for a long time. I've been on my phone teaching this lesson all week. Listen for what is above the darkness. Train yourself to do it every day of your life. To never get dragged down in the din and darkness of what's going on around you. Listen for that note that is above that only you can hear. Only you. It comes to you differently than it comes to anybody else. But you have to be told that it's there, and I'm telling you that it's there. Listen for what is above you. It may sound like one day a cricket singing that wants to pull you back into reality and say, you're part of this, you know. This little cricket singing, saying, we're kind of the same here. We've been brought into this world to do our thing. It's a divine voice. So this has been a hard week, and it reminded me of exactly what those men, the disciples of Jesus, had been prepared to hear. They followed Jesus because they had lived in a people always tuned in to the reality that God was coming to rescue them. God does come, even when we're not rescued. God comes to bring us through. And finally, to bring us home. Amen.
The splendor of a king, clothed in majesty. Let all the earth rejoice. Let all the earth rejoice. He wraps himself in light. Darkness tries to hide. It trembles at his voice. Trembles at his voice. How great is our God. Sing with me, how great is our God. And all we see, how great is our God.
Let us go forth in peace, rejoicing in the power of God's Spirit.